You probably have a ton of things you want to accomplish in your life, both personally and professionally. Finding the time, finding the balance is really, really difficult. Today, we are going to talk about 3 super powerful questions that you can ask yourself to help get clear and focused about what is truly most important to you. Hey team, my name is Dave. I'm a financial planner and the founder of Turning Point Financial Life Planning, where I use the tools of financial planning to help therapists grow their impact and build lives that they love. Today, we are going to talk a lot more about that focus of building the life you love. You want to focus your time, effort, resources on what's most important to you. And if you listened to last week's video, you know that I think the greatest risk any of us face is spending too much time pursuing a life that really isn't ours, that really isn't the most fulfilling and enriching and rewarding experience of living. But how do you focus? How do you prioritize? If you went through the exercises from last week's video, you have a much better sense of what's going on in your life. What is your internal emotional experience of all the things you're navigating in your life? And some of them are probably great, and some of them you might want a little bit less of in your life. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 3 powerful questions that are part of the life planning process that I use to help clients really get clear and focus on what is most important to them. This life planning process was developed by a guy named George Kinder, who is also a fellow financial planner, and he has the Kinder Institute of Life Planning, where you can find a bunch more resources for you to conduct this exploration for yourself. There are links in the description box below to both my website, where you can find more information, as well as the Kinder Institute's website, where you can find a bunch of information, as well as links to a directory of registered life planners that you could consider working with. I've gone through this 3 questions exercise several times myself, and every time I've learned something new and in some cases surprising about myself. So the way to do this exercise, and there is really no right or wrong way, but I would encourage you to set aside some time by yourself to go through these questions and really feel into them. When you see the question, your cognitive mind will probably want to jump in and supply some answers, and that's okay. But I would really encourage you to pause and sit with the emotional experience of the question. Each of the questions will pose a different hypothetical scenario for you to really place yourself into and feel what it would be like to be there. If this were really happening to me, what would my emotional response would be? What comes up? What sensations are you experiencing in your body? And what is your attention being called to if you're living in this world? Really feel into your answer to the question. In terms of how you capture your answers, you can write them out longhand, you can type them out, you can even just record a voice memo. There's no right way to do it. I've done it a number of different ways. It's a bit of a different experience, and I've noticed different things come forward for me when I'm recording my answers in a different way. Play around with it, see what resonates for you. Without further ado, let's jump into the 3 questions. Question 1. I want you to imagine that you are financially secure, that you have enough money to take care of your needs now and in the future. The question is, how would you live your life? Would you change anything? Let yourself go. Don't hold back on your dreams. Describe a life that is complete, that is richly yours. So this question really invites you to dream big. If you no longer have to work for a living, if you don't have to work to support yourself financially, how do you spend your time? What does that feel like? What does that freedom feel like? What does all the time you now have available to spend however you want? What do you do with it? And also, how do you spend your financial resources? How do you spend that financial security that you found? Question 2. This time you visit your doctor who tells you that you have only 5 to 10 years left to live. The good part is that you won't ever feel sick. The bad news is that you will have no notice of the moment of your death. What will you do in the time you have remaining to live? Will you change your life? And how will you do it? So this question makes things a bit more urgent. Sadly, you no longer have the financial resources you had in the world of question one. Your life is exactly as it is in reality. You have all the same circumstances, including financial circumstances, that you have in reality. The only difference is that you know with certainty that you have only 5 to 10 years left to live. This is one where you really want to sit with the emotional experience of what that would be like. If you knew that 5 or 10 years was the most you had left to live, what comes up for you? What's most important? What do you want to really prioritize, knowing that your mortality is on the not too distant horizon? Remember, you'll never feel sick, you'll never be slowed down, but you also won't know when the moment of your passing will ultimately arrive. Question 3. This time, your doctor shocks you with the news that you have only 1 day left to live. Notice what feelings arise as you confront your very real mortality. Ask yourself, what did I miss? Who did I not get to be? And what did I not get to do? Question 3 is, of course, the heaviest question, and yet it can also be one of the most powerful. It's important to remember this question isn't asking you what would you do with your last 24 hours on Earth, nor is it asking you to reflect on any regrets you have for your life. Rather, it's asking you to consider what path or paths are you on that you now don't get to see to the end. What are you working on? What are you striving to accomplish? What are aspirational ways you have of even just showing up and living life as a human being? What is in process that you now don't get to see to the end? Really sit with the emotional experience of confronting your mortality and consider what becomes most important, what becomes most resonant to you. Don't think about the answer so much. Feel into the answer. And equally, don't hold yourself back. Answer intuitively. Don't consider if this is what your answer should be by some external standard. Just be intuitive. Think about and notice what comes up and what is true for you. After you've completed the 3-question exercise, I'd suggest you set your answers aside for a day or two. Then come back to them, review, read them again, and just see what resonates with you. What themes emerge? Are there common elements that come up in maybe more than one of your answers? This may give you a really clear indication of where to take your life. It might be kind of a neat, tidy package of what's important to you and what you want to focus on. Or it might be more of a general guide or a general direction in which to head. It might just reveal areas that are important that you need to do more complete, further investigation on your own. Either way, every time I've done this exercise, it's brought a lot of clarity and sometimes confirmation to the path I'm on, and it's just highlighted for me what I need to do to take that next step to really continue to focus and move my life towards what I view as my ideal life, to continue to focus and move towards what's most important for me. This process I've been talking to you about in this video and the previous video are just a general introduction to the life planning process. If it's something that resonates or you think might be useful, there are resources which I've listed down in the description box below to the Kinder Institute of Life Planning, which administers and provides continuing education for the type of life planning that I use in my practice. And it also has resources to help you conduct a more complete life planning process on your own. Equally, if you just like to chat with me about the life planning process, what you've experienced with it, how you might consider it differently, or how we might even use it together in a financial planning process, you can reach out to me. Links below to contact me, or even schedule a 30-minute conversation. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day and that you continue to focus and prioritize what is truly most important in your life.